learning to kill before they can know how to read. You don't learn about that on CNN. Some journalists, upon leaving Gaza, actually do report the truth about Hamas's use of human shields. An Italian journalist tweeted, "Out of Gaza, far from Hamas retaliation, misfired rocket killed children yesterday in Shopee." And a journalist from NDTV, upon leaving Gaza, distributed a video clip of jihadists assembling and firing a rocket from a densely populated area next to a hotel. This has recently gone viral, and Bibi even called a special news conference to show this to international journalists. From CNN, we only get excuses for their failure to report on Hamas firing rockets in populated areas, claiming they were not given an invitation to the rocket launches. They didn't have a hotel room next to rocket sites. Too bad the NDTV video blew that canard. Journalism is a dead profession. Izzy Lember, the former senior producer of CNN's Jerusalem Bureau for over 20 years, penned a column today in which she stated, "Journalists became vehicles for the Palestinian narrative of injustice rather than simply impartial observers of a complex conflict. In the current war, international media coverage makes it appear to viewers as if every morning Israelis wake up and ask ourselves, how many Palestinian children shall we kill today?" And I'd like to take this one step further. One of the reasons why I am not here in the hopes of changing CNN's reporting, but rather in the hopes of furthering the message far and wide that CNN is not a reliable news outlet, is because I believe the bias is based on anti-Semitism. As pro-Hamas demonstrations across the globe are rife with calls for death to the Jews, death to Israel, there is no distinguishing anti-Zionism from anti-Semitism. And when mainstream news outlets further the message that Israel is killing innocent Palestinian civilians, taking disproportionate military action to defend its civilian population, and isn't facing existential threats by jihadists on its borders, one can only conclude that these organizations are just as much a threat to the survival of the Jewish state of Israel as the terrorists themselves. For without truth, anti-Semitism will continue to flourish. Attacks on Jews the world over will continue to escalate, and Israel's ability to survive will become ever more precarious. That is why I am here today. CNN, the New York Times, and other outlets who fuel the fire of anti-Israel venom are instead inciting violence against Jews. They're reporting only of the Palestinian perspective of victimhood, rather than the truth about Israel and its citizens under siege by terrorists, is one of the reasons that we see such hatred on streets, not only across Europe, but across America as well. Pro-Hamas protests from Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boston, New York, Philadelphia are being encouraged, perhaps not openly, but certainly with inflammatory rhetoric and misinformation by anti-Semites posing as reporters. Until this stops, the numbers of Israel haters and anti-Semites will continue to grow. That is why I am here today. I am speaking to you as a representative of the Endowment for Middle East Truth, a think tank unapologetically pro-Israel and pro-America that fights daily to bring truth to our politicians and our citizens. Without truth, the entire Western world is doomed, for once Israel goes, so too will the rest of the civilized world. This is a war against global jihadists who are not just looking to destroy Israel, but all civilization. The media are not telling you the truth about the war that Israel is fighting, or the war that we all must fight. And coming here today makes us all soldiers on the battlefield in search of truth, which is the first step in winning. Thank you all for coming, and continue the fight.